Hi guys, today I'm gonna tell you my 5 best tips on how you can get into higher elo in Faceit. And I myself have a elo peak in CS2 of 3200 elo and I'm around 2.8k right now. And these 5 tips is 5 tips you easily can get into a game. They aren't gonna affect how you play, and in a way, it's just gonna make the chance of you winning higher. And I'm 100% sure that you're not gonna know the last tip. And this is what I've learned after 8000 hours in CS. And this is primarily for a solo queue, duo queue or trio. So tip number 1, and probably the most important tip, is never play on a lose streak. If you don't need to grind all day and just start playing some games here and there, then I recommend if you lose 2 games in a row, then stop playing and either wait the next day to play or just wait some hours, because most of the time 2 losses in a row can get into a lose streak because you get tilted and then there's nothing good out from that. So a good rule of thumb, if you lose 2 in a row, take a break and mental reset. Because the times you win and lose the most elo are on your win and lose streak, so try to keep your lose streak at minimum and just grind out your winning streaks. Tip number 2, which was the tip I got from a pretty high elo player, that's to only give info. The only thing you need to use the voice chat for is info, and that's gonna make your chance of winning way higher. You're not gonna tilt your team or make anybody mad, and just try everything you can to only use the voice comms to give info, because they will play, guys. Being toxic is just gonna make you lose way more games, and especially if you solo queue, is probably one of the best things you can do. Tip number 3 is try to get a good start. So many Faceit games just snowball so hard, and if you lose the first couple of rounds, the chance of you winning the game is getting so much higher. Because people on the other team are beginning to tilt and give up, and when that happens, you almost win the game every single time. So a good way to ensure that is always to have a pistol round to call. Because I've tried some games where they aren't called the pistol round and it just starts off bad and people get tilted and then almost already lost the game just from the pistol round. So they start out by trying to get a good pistol thread going and get the communication up and be positive, and they're gonna make your starts way better and make you win way more games. Tip number 4, try to keep the mood up, a little bit as the same as the first one, but I think you should always try to keep the mood up, especially if your team begins to tilt and it's a close game and people start getting mad. Try to keep the mood up and always believe in the win. Sometimes you're gonna do a miracle of a comeback or do something insane, and by keeping the mood up, you're gonna make the chance of you winning the games higher. There's always a chance to win the game. You're just playing against some Faceit guys. They can always mess up and start to get tilted, and then you get momentum and you're gonna come back the game. Tip number 5, which is a tip I think you don't probably know, is that don't try to queue for too long time. If the queue has been going for a while, then there's a higher chance that you're gonna come into the 4-man or 5-man stack, and you as a full solo queue lobby against the 5-4-man stack is just gonna make the chance of you winning way lower. So if your queue begins to get over 3, 4 or 5 minutes, then Faceit automatically gonna try to find more games, and by that sometimes queue into a full solo queue lobby against the 5-man stack, and it's just unbearable to play. So just restart the queue so you get into a fair and even game. And the last tip, which is a little bonus tip, is just to play a lot. You don't get up to 3k elo without having at least 1000 games. Of course there's a lot of smurf and stuff account, but as a normal player who just played CS2, you need at least over 2000 hours to get up to the 3k mark. And I think even if I got reset back down to 1000 elo and had to grind my way up to around 2.8 right now, I think I would need at least 500 or 1000 games just to get up there. So no matter how good you are, it's gonna take a lot of games, and it's gonna be a percentage game. Some games you just have lost, some you already have won. You just need to try and win 1% more games than you're gonna lose, and then in the long run you're gonna gain some elo. You almost never see people in the high elo without a lot of matches, so you just have to grind and do your best. And guys, that's my 5 best tips for getting into high elo in Faceit. Hope some of them work for you, and if they did, give this video a like and subscribe, and write down in your comment if there's any trick that I missed, or what's your best Faceit trick to get in elo.